Hey guys, in this video I will take a look at what is inside the Crisis Protocol cool set. I'm really into hobbying and miniature painting, so I saw this had good reviews online and I had to pick it up. I usually do Lord of the Rings and that kind of thing, but I'm also very into Marvel, and I thought these kind of proved to be quite a bit different. So it's good to try something new. All of the man-made objects and the brighter colors and the metallics, and it looks like they have very good details. So yeah, this video will be more on the hobbying side of the game rather than gameplay and my review. I've played the game a few times and I did really enjoy it, but in this video I will open it up and show you the contents and then show you the miniatures and the terrain constructed, and then at the end I'll show you them painted and share my thoughts on that. So maybe if you want to see a gameplay video to see if this is what you want to buy, have a look at somebody else's video after this one. So inside the box you get the rules, and this is more of a learn to play, getting started guide. The full rules are on the internet, so you can take a look at Atomic Mass Games website and find all the rules. But in here you'll have everything you need to get started, to teach you what all the tokens mean and movement and setting up for your first game. This game is, think of it like a nice in-between between something like Catan or some of your entry-level board games, but not quite at the difficulty of, say, the Lord of the Rings game or Warhammer. So it seems to be a bit more streamlined, less rules to learn. We've had a few games with my friends, and the hardest thing that I found was learning all the character moves. So the core rules are quite simple, but then once you get your team, you have 4 or 5 heroes, and each of them have many superpowers and abilities. So it can take quite a long time to learn what each different character can do, and they're all really unique, which is great, but it's got quite a long learning curve at the beginning. The book introduces you to all of the characters and then has construction guides in the back. There's 5 heroes and 5 villains, and also a bunch of terrain we'll go through soon. On the back has a phase guide, so there's 3 phases in the game, and that's kind of a quick reference guide. You have your character sheets here. Double-sided, each character has a healthy and a weak side, so throughout the game when they lose their health down to 0, they become dazed and go to unhealthy, so essentially each character has kind of 2 lives. Really cool art here. Buying this game actually ended up getting me into the comic books, so I've been reading quite a few of the old X-Men and Civil War and Infinity War. So yeah, I've always been into the movies, but this is getting me more into the universe. Some of the bigger characters have bigger sizes, which is cool. So the miniatures are great. They're really detailed and have good poses, and they're all kind of scale accurate. So people like Dr. Octopus or Ultron will have larger size bases and models to represent their size. And after buying this, I actually went on to buy the Hulk and some of the other models like Thanos, which I'll open on another video, but they're all even bigger still, so quite exciting. Here's all the tokens. Each characters get power to do their special actions and damage tokens. Other tokens that help with the gameplay, collecting different things throughout the game, as well as a tracker for moves and points. And most of the rest of the box is just plastic. Lots of sprues of plastic here, really exciting for hobbyists. If you're into painting and building miniatures, then this is a definite and you're into Marvel, then I would 100% recommend this. But if you're not into any of that, then maybe give this one a miss. Big sprues for the terrain and smaller ones for each of the characters. So all of the characters come on their own individual sprues, and maybe have 4 to 5 or up to 10 different little pieces for all of the models. They get pretty tiny and finicky, but they're not too hard to construct. The core set comes with 10 dice, and it's probably okay for a few games, but I actually ended up just buying another 10 dice because you usually end up spending using more than 5 per player. So to save you from having to kind of pass them back and forth, I ended up buying a new set. And here we have all of the cards. So these are all of the different objectives for the game. The game is basically a capture area and capture tokens game, as well as trying to kill your opponents. So there's lots of different variations on the whole capture mechanic. So different things you can collect and how you collect different points. There's maps to show where to place the tokens for different situations, and then these cards with the art on them are for your hand. So in a game, you collect roughly about 4 to 5 characters, and then you also have a hand of 5 of these cards, and they help you throughout the game. They're one-off things that affect the game. And hidden under here are more things. I think there's the rulers and some more terrain. It's been interesting painting something more urban-based. I'm used to kind of doing the natural Lord of the Rings setting, so it's been fun painting metallics and glossy things and flat color rather than kind of the natural dirty look of Lord of the Rings. It's been a challenge learning some new techniques, but it's good to have some variation in painting. So here's an example of how the car comes. Not too many pieces. Pretty easy to construct, and I used plastic glue to construct them. So when you're buying the core set, you might want to think about some plastic glue. You can use super glue too, but it will just be more brittle. Here are the characters. This is Red Skull. So you can see most characters have their arms and bodies, hands and weapons all on individual little pieces. This is Captain America here. Lots of detail, not many mold lines. Setting everything up took me quite a few hours, so constructing all of the different miniatures and terrain, you'll have to set aside a good night or two, a couple of hours, and then painting them, of course, takes even longer than that. That's Spider-Man. And then here are some of the bigger miniatures. Two of the bigger ones that you get are Dr. Octopus and Ultron, as well as all the terrain, of course. Here's some dumpsters. Dr. Octopus, Ultron. Some of the newer miniatures I've been creating, I've got a few of their expansions now, and they seem to have more dynamic poses and greater detail. This is a couple of years old now, this core set, but still very good. Holds up well. But I find kind of the Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Dr. Octopus were lacking a little bit of detail, but still okay to paint. Here are the traffic lights, and I printed out some signs and things for them because painting some of the detail for the magazines can get really tiny, so you can print them out and stick them onto your miniatures. Here are the rulers. So there's four sizes for working out attacks from melee to beams, and then three more for movement. And here are all the other things constructed. This is the Daily Bugle. This is the biggest piece, and you can keep it so you don't glue the roof and use it for some kind of storage if you want. Here's the car. You get two cars. You can make one taxi if you want. And the other one. You get two traffic lights. And also two lamp posts. Really fun to paint. Good quality, sturdy. And you get a small trash can. You get two of these dumpsters here. These are really fun to paint, getting the gritty texture with dirty washes and things. And then the characters. This is the leader of the bad guys. You get 5 Cabal and 5 Avengers. The leader is Red Skull of that. You get Crossbones, who's the heavy hitter. Iron Man, one of my least favourite. Not sure why. I ended up buying the Hulkbuster one, and he came with a much more dynamic Iron Man pose, so I'll be substituting that one in. And then Dr. Octopus on one of the larger bases. And Spider-Man. Also a bit of a weird pose here, but yeah, still good. Still had fun painting him. Captain Marvel had a great pose. Some of the newer models seem more in line with this more dynamic flying pose. This is a great one of my favorites. This is Ultron on a rock, and he was really fun to paint with metallics, and the orange you'll see later showing through the armor looks really good. Baron Zemo, he seems to be one of the better characters to play in the game. And then the leader of the Avengers is Captain America, of course, throwing the shield, very cool. And Black Widow. So the core set comes with a good selection of heroes, easily enough to play a few games, and we have been really enjoying it. And here are examples of some of the things painted. This one was really tricky, getting the yellow, lots and lots of coats. I'm sure you could do it with an airbrush if you wanted to do it faster, but haven't got one of them yet. But yeah, everything was really cool to paint. As you can see here, I used some little stickers for the signage and the numbers on the traffic lights, and the magazines here, just printed them out, tried to keep them kind of Marvel related. And yeah, I used a plastic glue, as I said earlier, and also a varnish, just Vallejo varnish, to keep them all protected once I finish painting them, because characters will be walking all over these. I brought the mat that you see here, the Urban Terrain, online. This is a knockoff version, but you can buy the ones from Atomic Mass Games from Amazon, and I really recommend them. If there's anything you want to buy after the core set, I would say get a good game mat. It really helps with the immersion. And another thing I would also recommend is getting extra dice. So we'll go through the characters here. Here is Crossbones. Very easy to paint, but I really love the model. Dr. Octopus. Used some glossy varnish to show the metallics for his arms. Nice pose here for Baron Zemo. This is one of my favorites. Very easy, but it turned out so well. With the silver and then the nice orange underneath. Bases are very easy to paint. They're all just based on an urban theme with concrete. So I would just paint them with grey and then a wash of Nuln Oil and then dry brush them with white, and that would be it. Iron Man here, I was not too happy with it. Took me a long time to get it right. Working out how to do red metallics was really tricky. And this one is Captain Marvel, which, yeah, that was really fun to paint. It's also one of my favourite miniatures. And Black Widow here. Spider-Man, he was a bit more tricky as well, with all the recesses in the costume. So I had to paint all of the red squares individually, which took quite a long time. Captain America was really fun to paint, doing the gloss shield and the matte varnish for his body, just to make it really shine. We've had great fun playing this game with my friend, and really recommend it if you're into Marvel and miniatures. I'm sure there's lots of other videos out there which will get more into the gameplay. And if you want to take a look at my photos of Marvel Crisis Protocol and other miniature games, then you can have a look at my Instagram, which is called Miniature Johnny. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.